Selections from the complete works of Swami Vivekananda, Part 23, The Mission of the Vedanta. On the occasion of his visit to Kumbakonam, the Swamiji was presented with the following address by the local Hindu community. Reverend Swamin, on behalf of the Hindu inhabitants of this ancient and religiously important town of Kumbakonam, we request permission to offer you a most hearty welcome on your return from the Western world to our own holy land of great temples and famous saints and sages. We are highly thankful to God for the remarkable success of your religious mission in America and in Europe, and for His having enabled you to impress upon the choicest representatives of the world's great religions assembled at Chicago that both the Hindu philosophy and religion are so broad and so rationally Catholic as to have in them the power to exalt and to harmonize all ideas of God and of human spirituality. The conviction that the cause of truth is always safe in the hands of Him, the Almighty, who is the life and soul of the universe, has been for thousands of years part of our living faith. And if today we rejoice at the results of your holy work in Christian lands, it is because the eyes of men in and outside of India are thereby being opened to the inestimable value of the spiritual heritage of the preeminently religious Hindu nation. The success of your work has naturally added great luster to the already renowned name of your great Guru. It has also raised us in the estimation of the civilized world. More than all, it has made us feel that we too, as a people, have reason to be proud of the achievements of our past, and that the absence of telling aggressiveness in our civilization is in no way a sign of its exhausted or decaying condition. With clear sighted, devoted, and altogether unselfish workers like you in our midst, the future of the Hindu nation cannot but be bright and hopeful. May the God of the universe, who is also the great God of all nations, bestow on you health and long life and make you increasingly strong and wise in the discharge of your high and noble function as a worthy teacher of Hindu religion and philosophy. A second address was also presented by the Hindu students of the town. The Swami then delivered the following address on the mission of the Vedanta. A very small amount of religious work performed brings a large amount of result. If this statement of the Gita wanted an illustration, I am finding every day the truth of that great saying in my humble life. My work has been very insignificant indeed, but the kindness and the cordiality of welcome that have met me at every step of my journey from Colombo to this city are simply beyond all expectation. Yet, at the same time, it is worthy of our traditions as Hindus. It is worthy of our race, for here we are, the Hindu race, whose vitality, whose life principle, whose very soul, as it were, is in religion. I have seen a little of the world, traveling among the races of the East and the West, and everywhere I find among nations one great ideal which forms the backbone, so to speak, of that race. With some of it is politics, with others it is social culture. Others again may have intellectual culture and so on for their national background. But this, our motherland, has religion and religion alone for its basis, for its backbone, for the bedrock upon which the whole building of its life has been based. Some of you may remember that in my reply to the kind address which the people of Madras sent over to me in America, I pointed out the fact that a peasant in India has in many respects a better religious education than many a gentleman in the West. And today, beyond all doubt, I myself am verifying my own words. There was a time when I did feel rather discontented at the want of information among the masses of India and the lack of thirst among them for information. But now I understand it. Where their interest lies, there they are more eager for information than the masses of any other race that I have seen or have travelled among. Ask our peasants about the momentous political changes in Europe, the upheavals that are going on in European society. They do not know anything of them, nor do they care to know. But the peasants, even in Ceylon, detached from India, in many ways cut off from a living interest in India, I found the very peasants working in the fields there were already acquainted with the fact that there had been a parliament of religions in America, that an Indian sannyasin had gone over there, and that he had some success. Where therefore their interest is, there they are as eager for information as any other race, and religion is the one and sole interest of the people of India. I am not just now discussing whether it is good to have the vitality of the race in religious ideals or in political ideals. But so far it is clear to us that for good or for evil, our vitality is concentrated in our religion. You cannot change it. You cannot destroy it and put in its place another. You cannot transplant a large growing tree from one soil to another and make it immediately take root there. For good or for evil, the religious ideal has been flowing into India for thousands of years. For good or for evil, the Indian atmosphere has been filled with ideals of religion for shining scores of centuries. For good or for evil, we have been born and brought up in the very midst of these ideas of religion till it has entered into our very blood and tingled with every drop in our veins, and has become one with our constitution, become the very vitality of our lives. Can you give such religion up without the rousing of the same energy in reaction, without filling the channel which that mighty river has cut out for itself in the course of thousands of years? Do you want that the Ganga should go back to its icy bed and begin a new course? Even if that were possible, it would be impossible for this country to give up her characteristic course of religious life and take up for herself a new career of politics or something else. You can work only under the law of least resistance, and this religious line is the line of least resistance in India. This is the line of life, this is the line of growth, and this is the line of well being in India, to follow the track of religion. In other countries, religion is only one of the many necessities in life. To use a common illustration which I am in the habit of using, my lady has many things in her parlor, and it is the fashion nowadays to have a Japanese vase, and she must procure it. It does not look well to be without it. So, my lady or my gentleman has many other occupations in life, and also a little bit of religion must come up in to complete it. Consequently, he or she has a little religion. Politics, social improvement, in one word, this world is the goal of mankind in the West, and God and religion come in quietly as helpers to attain that goal. Their God is, so to speak, the being who helps to cleanse and to furnish this world for them. That is apparently all the value of God for them. Do you not know how, for the last 100 or 200 years, you have been hearing again and again out of the lips of men who ought to have known better, from the mouths of those who pretend at least to know better, that all the arguments they produce against the Indian religion is this: that our religion does not conduce to well-being in this world, that it does not bring gold to us, that it does not make us robbers of nations, that it does not make the strong stand upon the bodies of the weak and feed themselves with the lifeblood of the weak. Certainly, our religion does not do that. It cannot send cohorts under whose feet the earth trembles, for the purpose of destruction and pillage and the ruination of races. Therefore, they say, what is there in this religion? It does not bring any grist to the grinding mill, any strength to the muscles. What is there in such a religion? They little dream that that is very important argument which we prove our religion, because it does not make for this world. Ours is the only true religion, because according to it, this little sense world of 3 days' duration is not to be made the end and aim of all, is not to be our great goal. This little earthly horizon of a few feet is not that which bounds the view of our religion. Ours is away beyond and still beyond, beyond the senses, beyond space and beyond time, away, away beyond, till nothing of this world is left, and the universe itself becomes like a drop in the transcendent ocean of the glory of the soul. Ours is a true religion because it teaches that God alone is true, that this world is false and fleeting, that all your gold is but as dust, that all your power is finite, and that life itself is oftentimes an evil. Therefore, it is that ours is a true religion. Ours is the true religion because, above all, it teaches renunciation and stands up with the wisdom of ages to tell and to declare to the nations who are mere children of yesterday in comparison with us Hindus who own the hoary antiquity of the wisdom discovered by our ancestors here in India, to tell them in plain words, children, you are slaves of the senses. There is only finiteness in the senses. There is only ruination in the senses. The 3 short days of luxury here bring only ruin at last. Give it all up. Renounce the love of the senses and of the world. That is the way of religion. Through renunciation is the way to the goal and not through enjoyment. Therefore, ours is the only true religion. Aye, it is a curious fact that while nations after nations have come upon the stage of the world, played their parts vigorously for a few moments, and died almost without leaving a mark or a ripple on the ocean of time, here we are, living as it were an eternal life. They talk a great deal of the new theories about the survival of the fittest, and they think that it is the strength of the muscles which is the fittest to survive. If that were true, any one of the aggressively known old world nations would have lived in glory today. And we, the weak Hindus who never conquered even one other race or nation, ought to have died out. Yet we live here 300 million strong. A young English lady once told me, what have the Hindus done? They never even conquered a single race. And it is not at all true that all its energy are spent, that atrophy has overtaken its body. That is not true. There is vitality enough, and it comes out in torrents and deluges the world when the time is ripe and requires it. We have, as it were, thrown a challenge to the whole world from the most ancient times. In the West, they are trying to solve the problem how much a man can possess, and we are trying here to solve the problem on how little a man can live. This struggle and this difference will still go on for some centuries. But if history has any truth in it, and if prognostications ever prove true, it must be that so that who train themselves to live on the least and control themselves well will in the end gain the battle, and that those who run after enjoyment and luxury, however vigorous they may seem for the moment, will have to die and become annihilated. There are times in the history of a man's life, nay, in the history of the lives of nations, when a sort of world weariness becomes painfully predominant. It seems that such a tide of world weariness has come upon the Western world. There too, they have their thinkers, great men, and they are already finding out that this race after gold and power is all vanity of vanities. Many, nay, most of the cultured men and women there are already weary of this competition, this struggle, this brutality of their commercial civilization, and they are looking forward towards something better. There is a class which still clings on to political and social changes as the only panacea of the evils in Europe. But among the great thinkers there, other ideals are growing. They have found out that no amount of political or social manipulation of human conditions can cure the evils of life. It is a change of the soul itself for the better that alone will cure the evils of life. No amount of force or government or legislative cruelty will change the conditions of a race. But it is spiritual culture and ethical culture alone that can change wrong racial tendencies for the better. Thus, these races of the West are eager for some new thought, for some new philosophy, that the religion they have had, Christianity, although good and glorious in many respects, has been imperfectly understood, and is, as understood hitherto, found to be insufficient. The thoughtful men of the West find in our ancient philosophy, especially in the Vedanta, the new impulse of thought they are seeking, the very spiritual food and drink for which they are hungering and thirsting. And it is no wonder that this is so.